Now we'll study about the scope of financial management. What is the possibility of, or what are the areas that finance function can perform better? First one is understanding the financial or estimating the financial requirement of the organization. How much money is required? Whether it's for a short-term purpose or it's for a long-term purpose, it can be easily identified. And based on that, they have the finance manager makes a decision. The second one is deciding on the capital structure. Capital structure means the proportion and kind of securities used in the capital of the organization so that the cost of capital is reduced and the value of the firm is increased. This is the basic idea of financial management. Next one is selecting a source of finance. Which sources the finance manager has to approach, which is the most viable source of finance. Source of finance can be the major concept is like we should go for the cheaper source of finance. It's always not necessary to go for the cheaper source of finance. Rather, it should be the most viable source of finance. Sources can be broadly classified into debt funds and equity funds. Based on the requirements of the company, the manager goes for either debt funds or equity funds. And next scope is the pattern of investment, whether the manager has to invest more into the fixed assets or the uh, current assets based on the requirements. Fixed assets will be given priority if the plan is like going for a long-term purpose, whereas current asset will be preferred if the manager goes for a short-term purpose. So this is the pattern of investment. Next one is the proper cash management. Cash management is very crucial for every organization for its survival, wherein they ensure that adequate cash is available in the organization. It should not be too shortage, or it should not be too excess. So by preparing cash flow statement, the manager can have a better idea about the cash flow and have a good control on the cash management. The next thing is financial control. Various techniques by which the finance manager uh, corrects the financial problems in the organization, sees if there is any deviation in the current plan, and these kinds of tools can be used to analyze uh, the correct methods and pathway for the finance function. And in short, we can call it as the corrective measures. The last one is the proper use of surplus. Surplus are very crucial in every organization, which are directly in connection with the value of the firm. So when the finance manager takes any decision on the surplus, he have to consider the interest of the investors and judicious use of surplus. This surplus can be used for diversification, expansion of return based on the requirement of the organization. So this is the nutshell of scope of financial management or finance management. Let's continue with the objectives of financial management. Finance management is concerned with the procurement of funds, which we have been dealing with this particular concept in the first class or the previous class. So the main aim of finance management or financial management is to bring maximum value to the firm in such a manner that it uses the funds of the organization properly. And financial management provides a framework uh, to the organization in selecting appropriate funds and taking accurate decisions regarding the commercial strategies so that it becomes more viable for the organization. So the objectives of financial management can be achieved by either through profit maximization or wealth maximization. These are to be dealt in detail. Profit maximization is part of every business organization's achievement or aim. So it measures the efficiency of the business. How a business has to be conducted depends upon the profit. If you are not earning profit from a business, eventually you may end up stopping that particular business. So these are the arguments in favor of profit maximization. Society give more preference to profit maximization. And when your firm is on the growth side, it shows a profit. Thereby you can attract more investors into it. It's a protection against risk. It's a buffer against risk. So it fulfills the social goals of the organization. If the company is earning much more profit than the other company, or other companies in the industry, it means that they can have better social dealings. And the criticism against profit maximization, the first one is ambiguity. The, the term profit cannot be precisely defined. It means different to different person. The profit to me will not be the profit to you. If I say I would like to gain a profit of 100 rupees, but that not be the case of another person. He might be aiming to get a profit of 200 rupees. That would be the profit for him. And it ignores the time value of money. It doesn't consider the magnitude and timing of earning. The money that you have today has got much more value than the money that you'll be having in your future period of time. That's the concept of time value of money. And profit maximization completely ignores the risk factor. There is, according to this concept, there is no risk associated with it. And the last one is dividend policy. Dividend policy also helps in increasing the value of the firm, but it is not it doesn't consider dividend policy here. And wealth maximization is where your wealth increases, the wealth of the firm increases, wealth of the investor increases, thereby increasing the overall value of the firm. This is the concept of wealth maximization, and it helps in the protecting the interest of the owners, and it's consistent with objectives. It's for a long run, or it's a long-term process, and it considers the risk factor involved in earning your profit or wealth. And the effect of dividend policy is considered here in this particular model, wherein when your dividend policy is correct and you pay dividend to your investors, it increases the value of the firm. When your investors value increases, it increases the value of the firm. When you're paying dividend, you're paying some kind of additional return to your investor. When the investor get returns, his or her value increases, or the wealth increases, thereby increasing the value of the firm. But the criticism is that it's a prescriptive area. You doesn't It's a prescribing thing. You prescribe something, like, so doesn't have a social, a correct scientific approach to this thing, and it's not socially desirable. Everyone in the economy is concerned with the profit of the organization rather than wealth. Like, if you hold 100 acres of land, and if you say that in my bank account I've got 10 crores of money, which will be the preference for the common man? Same is the case of this thing. Wealth is not socially desirable, and this is the difference between wealth maximization and profit maximization in helping at achieving the objectives of the organization, of the finance management. First one, profit maximization, is short term, and it maximizes the profit of the firm, and efficiency of the firm is measured by profit maximization and does not consider time value of money. And there is no clarity on earning, whether to retain or distribute. This is concerned with the retained earnings or the surplus. Whereas wealth maximization is a long-term objective. It aims at maximizing the wealth of the shareholders, thereby increasing the value of the firm. And next thing is, it measures the financial stability of the firm and consider time value of the money, and distribute earnings to shareholders as dividend. Here dividend plays a major role in wealth maximization.